So I am pleased to introduce our first one, and Craig Hassel. His presentation is Decolonizing Nutrition Science. Please welcome Craig.
Thank you, Sarah. I wish to begin by honoring that we are here on Dakota land, and also that my office in the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus occupies land illegally taken from the Dakota under the terms of the 1805 treaty that still go unfulfilled. Good science is about asking the right questions, and that slide you just saw was the right question. History too often ignores the sophisticated systems of indigenous agriculture which created over half of the healthy foods we commonly use today. Why are these indigenous contributions still too often ignored? An indigenous decoction of cedar and spruce cured these Europeans from scurvy many years ago, yet this narrative of cultural superiority depicted here is still alive, embedded within our institutions today. The brutality of colonization is both physical and psychological. Control of land, language, and food is central, as is suppression of other worldviews. When extermination failed, assimilation became the means of colonization. Deeply embedded patterns of cultural superiority permeate our institutions today. When we open ourselves to these difficult truths, we hold the seeds of powerful learning, unlearning, and relearning. I encourage you to visit the Landscapes of Conflict Gallery. We see these deeply embedded patterns in how we teach. Hit the slide again, please. And organize our professional curricula. Here, a U of M class disrupts these patterns by attending a traditional ricing camp taught by the White Earth community, and we've been doing that for about 15 years. These deeply embedded patterns permeate how we understand good research. They create blind spots that has us dismissing what other cultures offer. We need to examine what we mean by the terms good research and scientific integrity. This is a quote by the noted scholar Vine Deloria, who passed years ago, but it still holds truth. As a colonizing peoplehood, we must ask, what is our responsibility? Decolonizing asks us to develop a practice of cultural self-study, a practice of deliberately including our own thinking, our own habits of mind, our own unexamined assumptions as an object of study, as a part of our scientific inquiry. And currently, there is no discourse within nutrition science or other disciplines in which we can engage in this work. Subconscious background assumptions and cultural values, such as human control over nature, are not filtered out by scientific methods, but rather permeate scientific thought. These ideas become invisible because they are highly shared among an academic community. Decolonizing asks us to become aware of our cultural lens. Our perspective is useful with these hidden subjectivities, but they can also cause great harm. These assumptions are cultural, not universal. They need to be made explicit and examined. Decolonizing asks professionals to sharpen our cultural lens, to recognize cultural patterns and how we are taught to think and act. This requires cultural self-study that is currently lacking in our disciplines. Here's a culturally modified food guide pyramid of a few years ago as a teaching tool, but the underlying pyramid construct is still very much a Eurocentric construction. This represents a superficial approach to creating a culturally appropriate symbol, and I'm glad we've evolved past that since then. This next slide is about what Lakota elders came up with when they were given the opportunity to create a symbol based on their knowledge and teachings. The University of Minnesota has had a difficult history of colonization around wild rice. This history asks non-native scientists to develop our capacity to empathize with and be respectful of indigenous cultural perspectives. We are all human. Surely we hold the potential for this within ourselves. For 15 years now, the University of Minnesota brings classes to be taught by the White Earth community. This is one path toward decolonizing. In October, we will hold our 5th biannual Nebian Monoman Symposium. This symposium brings together indigenous and academic communities for the purpose of protecting Nebian Monoman. You are all invited to attend. This is another path of decolonizing. One vision of decolonizing comes from the Woodlands Wisdom Confederation. This is a confederation of tribal colleges and the University of Minnesota a few years ago. And the question I'd like to leave you with is, can we build toward an ecology of human knowledges? Thank you.